Hello, my name is Roisin Kearney and welcome to this podcast brought to you by Film Ireland in partnership with Still Voices Short Film Festival. We're delighted today to talk to three incredible filmmakers who are part of the international programme for Still Voices Film Festival 2021. So first of all, I'd like you all to introduce yourselves.
Hey, okay, I'm going first.
Sure.
I'm Ariane Louis-Seize. I'm a filmmaker from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And both of my films are in competition this year. The first one is The Depth. It's a short film about a girl who is in mourning of her mother, and she finds some solace at the bottom of the lake. So she find scuba diving gears and start to go in the lake for scuba diving. And yeah, I'm not gonna say more because there's a twist underwater. And the other one is Shooting Stars, is my most recent short film, and it's about a young girl who is in love with her boyfriend's mother. And it's really a film about mother-daughter relationships. So, yeah.
Hello, everyone. I go second. Sorry, Hazel. My name is Reza Riahi, and I'm an animation filmmaker from Paris. I'm Iranian. I was born and raised in Iran, but I live in France. My film here is called Navazande the Musician, and it's about two lovers meeting each other after 50 years in 13th century in Persia. And yes, that's the title of my film.
Okay, my turn. Hello, everyone. I'm Hazel McKibbin. I'm a writer and director based in between New York and London. And my film is called Double Speak, and it's about the aftermath of reporting sexual harassment in the workplace.
Well, welcome to all of you here today. I had the absolute pleasure of watching each of the films over the last couple of days, and I have to say, really, really astounding work. It was an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much. First, now two films. Ariana, you have both screening this year, which is really, really exciting. And I was checking them out earlier. They both premiered in Toronto International Film Festival in 2019 and 2020, which is incredibly fabulous.
Yes.
I suppose I'll go to the first, Shooting Star first, the most recent, which I think is an incredibly powerful film. And I really thought the performances were stunning. So if you want to tell us a little bit more about that, how you came to making the film and what gave you the idea.
I was in school and I had to write a story, impossible love story. That was the exercise we have to do. And I just came with this idea this young girl who lived in the shadow of her mother start to feel something for her mother boyfriend. And I thought it could be a nice way to talk about their relationship. In appearance, it looks like it's a film about this impossible love, but at the end, it's really a film about this complex mother-daughter relationship. Yeah, so I came with this idea, I think, 10 years ago. And after that, one of my friends, she was starting a writing project, and she asked me to write a short story about breakups. And I take this school exercise and I made something else with it. And so I published it first in short films, but in short story, but I'm a filmmaker. So naturally I wanted to make a film with it. So it's a long process with this one. Yeah.
It is something I suppose the subtleties of the relationship, and so much is said actually in each of your films, so much is said through silence and through reaction, far more than the dialogue. And it's something I think is incredible to watch. But particularly, there are points in the film where you're really I was personally quite fearful of how that relationship might morph and what could be the possible result, which was, it was quite, I found it quite scary at moments when I was watching, that it could have gone either way. And I was so relieved, but not even so relieved, but it was a twist in itself in how that came out and the changes that happened. And then, of course, with the mother-daughter relationship, that's really, really interesting. It's always a very interesting thing of, an adult daughter and mother relationship.
Yeah, and it's an uncomfortable film for sure. And I wanted to play with that thin line, but never cross it, but always be on the edge. But at the end, I really care for each of my three characters. So I didn't want to put the man in the bad position, not bad, but I don't have the word, salaud. Position salaud. Comment je pourrais dire ça en anglais?
Bastard?
Yeah. Okay.
You didn't want him to be the baddie. You didn't want him to be an unforgivable.
Exactly. Character. I didn't want either of my three characters. They are the three of them are complex. They are conflicted with a lot of things, but at the end they all care about each other. So even if I know that it was a sensitive subject and it's not comfortable to watch, I feel like there's a lot of love emanating from the film.
Yeah, there is, and that young love, our first love. You know what I mean? That really, really powerful moment is beautifully done within it. You know what I mean? That she is, in that moment of almost of womanhood, when and it's a crush. It's a But I thought their relationship was lovely, as well, because he was respectful.
Yes, and he cared for her, and he saw how she's not really happy about. The daughter is the mother of her mother, so and he realized that in the middle of this, it's like a love triangle, but the mother is not aware of that. It's about complex human relationship.
Yeah. And she is in lots of ways the child within the relationship, which is I think is identifiable. I think we can see, it is something that we come across. And Hazel, yourself, this was a student short, so this was something that you produced for college and has done incredibly well. And again, there's a lot said through silence right the way through, and reaction. If you could just give us a little bit more about what drove you to make this film in particular, and where the story came from, and a little bit about the story.
Yeah, so Doublespeak is my first film. I'm still actually doing my MFA at Columbia, and it's based on my own experience of reporting sexual harassment in the workplace. And when I started at Columbia, we had to write shorts and features, but this was one of the first shorts that I wrote. And then in the summer, we made the films, like the end of my first year, and I felt like I needed to make this film in order to get it out, not make every other film about this experience that had dominated so much of my working life before I decided to go back to school. So yeah, much of the dialogue is pulled from a recording that I made of my own very similar meeting. And I used the real name of the man who harassed me. So the truth of the story was like very important to me. I didn't want to change any details that that included him. Certainly, of course, there was some like dramatic moments with the character that played my character that were kind of those I felt like I could play with, but the stuff, anything that dealt with the harasser, I felt like had to be very real because I was using his name. The truth was important, and the truth is important to that kind of story. So yeah, that was sort of the life of it, and then of making it, and then it went on to have kind of a weird not weird, but just untraditional, I guess, distribution in that I didn't really know at all what I was doing with the film. And so we put it online well before it then did the whole festival thing. But yeah, now it's out in the world and people are watching it, which is such a privilege.
Fantastic. And it is like, I think it's always interesting to make something I didn't realize how, I knew from reading up on it that it was based around an experience. I didn't realize that the truth of it was so close, and I can totally understand why you wanted, you were very careful about that. How's the reaction been? Have you heard, has anything come back to you? Has anyone messaged you? Or is it, I know when you make a film like that, people can often reach out afterwards.
Yeah, I think certainly, I mean, I worked in film before going back to grad school and in post-production. So a lot of my colleagues who everybody kind of knew what was happening. It was a very small company. So a lot of them reached out, but also I think many women have had similar experiences. So the film, to me, what was important about it and what I was trying to like focus on, I guess, was the gray areas in reporting sexual harassment. And it's not always black and white. And there isn't like any kind of justice because it doesn't ever feel like, even if even if it all goes well, it's like the legal aspect of it is just hard to navigate. And I think most people have had some kind of experience where boundaries have been crossed and there's not that much clarity. So the response that's been one of the most amazing things about people watching it, and I guess there being kind of like a community created by it of women and men who've had similar experiences and find their experience reflected in the film, because it can be so solitary. Like you really feel alone reporting harassment. It feels very, like you're not supposed to talk about it legally. It's a whole thing. So it felt like a good way to end that kind of chapter.
Yeah, it could be quite isolating. So I suppose putting this out there and putting it out there for the world to see, there will presumably a lot of people will find a level of solace. And that's an important thing about film, I suppose, full stop, is, putting some of those stories out there in the world that may not have been told prior to now, are told in your way, with your own voice.
Reclaiming the narrative. That was important to me.
Brilliant. And now I will move along to Reza.
Just want to say I'm very curious to see your films, because now it's very interesting to hear all this from you. Okay, me,
the musician, and actually it's something that Hazel said there about justice and injustice, and it's something that I felt very strongly when I was watching your film, which was kind of heartbreaking. That what you hope for. But tell us a little bit more about.
Okay, I can tell when I actually started to write this film. It was actually a long time ago. It was 2014 when I started to write this along with my graduation film. And I realized I have to do this film and cut out and all this. So I keep the idea. So just after my graduation, it was actually Nora Tommy that invited me to go to Cartoon Saloon in Ireland. So I just made a pause on the film with the producer that actually was interested to produce this film. So I went to Ireland for a breadwinner, almost 3 years of my life, and I went back to France and to do this film. It was very hard because as a filmmaker, you are all doing the live action film, but animation takes long time to produce, really. And some particular techniques like this one that I was doing everything by hand and cut out and paint and such a crazy idea that I had. So it takes so much time. And the fact that when I wrote this film, I was in different place, and after you go forward and you have other ideas and you want to do something else, and to keep this freshness, to keep this motivation fresh, it's very hard. And but my producers and the Arctic and all that actually pre-bought this film, they really pushed me to do this film. So I did it, and what was the question again?
Well, your process, I suppose, to get to there.
Process, yeah. So I wrote this film, and it's an animation cutout. Technically, was very challenging to me. It was all painted and cut out in front of the camera, and it was a very hard time for me to do this because I was very perfectionist in somehow, and I really wanted to do some the way that I really wanted it. So that took almost less than 2 years production-wise to do this. So we finished this in the beginning of the Corona pandemic, actually, and we didn't have a chance to go to any festivals. I don't know about your films, but my film I went to my first festivals in Italy 2 months ago, like as to see this with the audience. As a short filmmaker, as you know, we really like to go to the festival to see the audience, to see the people, to talk, because that's our only chance to talk with people about it. It's not it's not a feature film to go to this actual cinema with the real opening, so it's very different. So we waited 2 years, and that was a very it was a very hard moment for me and the producers to have this. And we had the premiere I think with the same time with you, Ariane, in TIFF, but we couldn't make it there. And to talk about the story, it's about to the musician and that went to the castle and to play for the party, and it turns out that in that party there's a story between him and one of the servants that actually they were together back in 50 years ago. And so we see some flashbacks and some stuff that's come to his mind and her mind. Actually, they remember some stuff, and it's pretty. For me, it was kind of like a fairy tale, but in a realistic way. Meaning, there were so many things that I really wanted to talk in terms of like what would happen if you see someone after like years. If you really want to, your lover or whatever, whoever that you have a strong feeling, that are you going to get back to him or her, that person, after a long time, or just have it just a moment? So it was a very big decision when I was writing this film. And but it's very bold. It's very like there's so much iconic stuff in terms of like there's a king, there's a musician, there's a servant. So it's very bold, but it was something that I was going to do this in this film. And what else I can tell about it? I can tell about the music, because the music was, I was looking for the musician of this film because it's silent and the only voice of the film is the music. So it was pretty important for me and for the producers to find a good musician for this film. So I looked up and find someone that was this professional musician, but also the son of one of the heritage of the Persian music, and one of the big deal ones that I was very lucky, and that he accepted to work on this film. And as you know, in animation film is pretty obscure, pretty, how we can say, vague or blur, because we don't know what's the image going to look like. Mm-hmm. And we have some storyboards and animatic, and it's very hard for the musician to think, to do the music before finishing the film. even before producing the film. So that was one of the hardest part for me to direct, but we were happy for the results. So yeah,
fantastic. And now we might go back for your film number 2, Ariane.
Oh yeah.
So, and that is the depths. Now that was finished the year before. So very prolific. One out straight after the other. Well done. And again, you have the sort of, even though slightly different situation, you do have a hints of the mother-daughter relationship right the way through that, and that moment of loss and her finding things out about her mum that maybe she didn't know in the past. There's a lot of underwater in this as well. So I'd say it was a relatively complex shoot to get in and down. But if you can tell us a little bit about the film, and then also how you manage that.
Yeah, when I was shooting the depths, we had to shoot 3 days underwater, and we had kind of a big team for that. It was really pricey and a lot of unexpected costs and unexpected problem as well. The actress took some scuba diving course 2 months after the shooting, and myself and the camera operator, we were on a boat with a screen, like
with the monitor.
With the monitor, and we had a communication system to talk to the team underwater and talk to the actors and talk to the cameraman underwater to ask them to do things. So it was a complex way to communicate and to it's a whole new world, and the direction is not the same, and you can mix up really easily in the direction. And we had a lot of scene to shoot in a short amount of time, and the water was cold, and it was fun. And at the end, I'm really happy about the results of these scenes. And but it was a big I set for me a big
a very high bar to get to. Difficult. Yeah.
But I always do that. I always set a really high bar, and when I'm writing the film, I'm like, I will manage it. But when I actually have to do it and I'm in prep, I'm like, okay, that was it's stressful, but at the end, I think it's why it's so fun to make movies as well, to set high goals and try new things. And I think short film is also about not have fear of doing things and just try what you have in mind.
So you can push things a bit further. I'd say your producer probably had a heart attack when they read the script the first time.
Oh, she's used to my big idea. I'm not here to talk about my first short film, but my first short film was with a snake. So I had 6 snakes on the sets, and we build an apartment in the studio, and there was a jungle growing, and it was another big project. So I start my relationship with her with that project, who already she knows
She knows.
But
She's used to you. She's used to.
yeah.
She's terrified of the next one you're going to come out with. She'll be like, ah.
My next one is a vampire movie, so it will be another game.
We'll look forward to that for the next time. And what plans have you had, Hazel? I know you're still studying. Is there something coming up in the next period of time, or where do you want to see yourself headed?
Everything got kind of put on pause during the pandemic with school and filming and everything. So I ended up shooting one short in April, and then my thesis film in August, underwater in Wales, which was very cold, and also on film. So that I completely understand, Ariane, about how hard it is to shoot in water. And then I'm working on 2 features, just writing and developing, and kind of like trying to get out of school and move away from all that.
So you're shooting underwater on film?
Yeah, we did in August. I'm editing right now in post-production. Yeah, it's coming together. I'm a little scared of music, so I'm trying to figure out composition for everything. My doublespeak has no music, and so in that process right now of figuring out if I will or won't. I think not. We'll see.
And you are animating, I presume.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you've had a very busy few years, and I was looking back through all your stuff, and you've been living between countries and going from place to place, including here for quite a period of time, which we're all very happy about. And hopefully you'll be back again. You haven't written us off. So you're in France, you were saying, at the moment, is that?
Yeah, I live in Paris, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually the musician was what I was making it. I had other ideas, so it's became kind of part of the trilogy of 3 short films of kind of the same ideas of people meeting, not necessarily lovers, but people meeting and separating with the background thematic of the music. And now I'm actually producing the second one. I'm in the middle of the animatic storyboarding, and I found the musician for this one too. There's actually 2 musicians, and at the same time I'm finishing the writing of the my future film, and but it's very challenging because three stories, and I'm actually doing interviews with the persons that actually they're involved in this feature, so it's getting together, I think. I don't know. But right now I'm working on the second one of this trilogy, and yeah.
And how long is that? How long do you think? Because obviously the period of time when you're making an animation, and as you said, when you were making the musician, all these other ideas and these other things that you want to do happen while you're still working on the first one over that long period of time. And so while this process is going ahead, do you start just writing little bits down about a project that you hope to do in the future while you're still on the one?
Yeah, actually, for animation filmmakers, I don't know about the live action, but we actually start to write so many ideas, and we see which one is going to getting products as sooner. For this one, the second one in this trilogy, I'm actually trying to try different techniques. The second one is going to be like a paper animation, normal, without cutouts. And this third one is going to be the stop motion. So in terms of like production, the second one is going to be the easier between these 3 because it's easier to do animation on paper. And I hope next year is going to be end of the next year. Hopefully it's going to be finished. But the feature one, you have to look so much for budgets and producers and and yeah, finger crossed we see what's going to happen with this one. But we always have so many ideas because we never know which one is going to be produced or not, because animation is very slow, very expensive. And yeah, it's very normal in animation filmmakers to have so many ideas, and so many of them you can be produced. And that's why so many of us, we tend to go to do comic strips or illustration books, to if we have some stories that we're going to tell, and we can actually produce it as a film. So we find out other mediums. Yeah.
Yes, that's really interesting. So it's finding other ways of getting the story out there if it's something that you're going to, which is a great idea, really. Because I presume one of the things you often see is books turning into films after the fact, so they come out as books. And I presume that would be the same with animation then, that sometimes you might create a book and then it nearly moves backwards and becomes the animation afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I forgot that right now I'm finished. I've just finished another story, but that I know that I just wanted to be a book and maybe the exhibition in Paris, but not an animation for now. Because we have to we have to seduce producers to take in money, and to seducing them. I mean, live action is different. For animation, you have to create the image, the Bible, all this. So you have to do, and for some of them, actually, I don't have energy to go and do the Bible, and I just wanted to produce, and doing a comic strip and the illustration books way easier, and to tell the story, to, as Hazel was saying, just get it out and just put it there. So that's actually the way that's so many of us doing this, and actually it's pretty frustrating somehow, this animation filmmaking per se, because I know so many of my friends that they have so many good stories and talents, but they don't have energy or courage to go again to do the Bible, to do like for a musician, we had 2 years of finding budgets, 2 years of making it. So it's just 4 years of my life, and I prefer to do some other stuff too. Yeah.
And that, I think that goes across the board. I mean, certainly in both live action and animation, and the creation of the Bible and all the other stuff that goes along with it can be the part that filmmakers find incredibly difficult, because it's not a natural way to write. You know what I mean? People, they write script, or they write dialogue, or they write story in whatever way.
Yeah, exactly.
And creating a Bible and treatments and all that, it feels quite clinical, I suppose, when you're
trying to get funding.
There was this
brutal.
Yeah. There was a saying, actually, I remember every time that someone asked me, like, so what's your next film? Like, can you pitch it to me? Like, I'm always like, if I can, like, okay, I can tell the tiny part of the story, whatever. But if I can pitch it to you, or like I have a Bible to tell everything, I'll just do the Bible. I don't do the film. I'm doing the film to tell that story. Mm-hmm. So that's actually make it difficult to tell or pitch that story to someone, because you're doing a film to pitch, to tell the story. If I'm just saying that two lovers, they're getting together after 50 years, okay, it could be whatever,
Yeah.
It's not a pitching. So
I don't know for you, but at some point, 1 year, I can just write some Bibles and some documents to have the funding. And after, when I have the money, I feel like I'm scared to start writing it, because I'm feeling more comfortable now to just write about the story without writing the story. But after a while, when I'm like more used to write the story, it's difficult to it's completely two different way of writing. So it takes always sometimes to like acclimatize to this new way to thinking, and it's hard to like switch to the other mode after a while. So now I'm writing, I'm finishing to write my feature, but I have to to ask money to produce it, and I'm like, okay, now I have to put myself in this other writing mode. Let's go.
Yeah, you have to turn a switch between the two to try and I think that's across the board. I think it's something that we can all kind of, we've all been there. We've all had to write this, and it's really it's actually really nice to hear it from you guys. The same thing, that because it's two different, it's almost like two different sides of your brain when you're creating a pitch and a pitch document, a Bible, putting all that sort of business side together for funders.
And because also I witnessed so many pitches that was, I'm not saying for general, but so many interesting pitches, but the result wasn't so interesting. And so many pitches like opposite, like you were pitching and you were like, okay, that's it could be nice, and the result is incredible, because exactly that was the point. The vision that you had as a creator, like a director or whatever, is in your head, and it's you're just putting it in a music or in a painting or in a film. So that's when we see your actual vision. So pitching it somehow, it's an art to pitch, but it's not sometimes it's not how we can say that it's not supposed to be your art to pitch. Your art's supposed to be finish the job.
Well, because films are so immersive, it's hard to like put on paper like what the music will be like, how the motion will be. Like you can put a still on the page, but you can't like communicate how it'll feel to watch something. It's really hard to translate into like just a neat little document to, show up. And
so it's that kind of thing. It's like asking an artist to describe the painting they're going to paint.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, but unfortunately, it is a big part of the business. It is something that we all have to go through. Is there any, I suppose, tricks that you've learned along the way that have helped with that, with trying to define a story idea down into a pitch document, or anything for filmmakers as they're coming through? Is there something that you found was a great help to you getting through that?
For me, I think I don't have specific tips, but I think more I'm making these kind of documents, it's easy. So I think there's no really good trick, but just
practice,
go for it and practice, and at some point I think when you start your career at your first or second film, it's hard to talk about your démarche artistique, your process or your career because you're really at the beginning. But after a couple of films, and when you practice to write this kind of document, you kind of see all your films in like the evolution of your art and how they are connected, and it's more easy to talk about it. So I think it's coming like easily after a while, even if it's always a little bit hard to start a document, but it became better after a while.
Yeah, I think also it helps to make it personal. For me, at least, my stories all tend to be a little personal and specific. I think it makes it easier to talk about, and the more you can talk about your relationship with your material, the more appealing it is, I think, to people reading it, especially if they've seen or interested in your other work. I think it helps, you're right, like demonstrate how this new thing plays into like all the work that you're interested in doing, both like short and long, and
and I think it's a good tips to be personal, even if the story is not personal to you, because if I never write a story about something I experience, but at some point I think I want to explore something, one of my fears, or something I don't know. I have to the goal is to find where you are attached to the subject. Because
the personal doesn't mean that it should be you live this thing.
Yeah,
it's like you're living in a house and you're watching always the other house have a garden of flowers. You didn't have a flower per se, but it's inspiring yourself to write about those flowers that you don't have these flowers. But the thing is, that reminds me of there's no tips for me, but that was what Hazel said. Reminds me of I think it was Tarkovsky said that your film shouldn't be different than your life. Like your life should be in your film. Like meaning that you have to. The more you're close to the subject, doesn't mean to leave the subject. I didn't leave that love story back in 13th century. But the thing is, the more close to feel the subject yourself in your personal life, your personal sense, maybe. It's more, I think, in the end, more successful because it comes from the heart rather than just to make people like do something that make people like, look, I did this, or adapting from something that's, it's not you. It's going to be obvious. Art is naked, so everyone's going to in the end see where does it come from. If it comes from yourself and your heart, it's going to be obvious for everyone.
And there's a reason you want to spend 4 years making something, or even a year. It's like you put so much of your energy into it. You have to like communicate to someone why they should also put their energy into it.
Yeah, because you're like as a filmmaker, mostly all of us, like from the morning that even the dreaming, like from morning till the night, we're working for 44 hours. There's no pause to this. No. So that's actually when you have some subjects, I think, like this, that you're like thinking of this. And one thing actually maybe it's good to talk about is the cliche and the thing that thinking of this subject has been done. Of course, everything has been done for now. I mean, everything, the harassment, the love story, whatever, everything has been done, but it's your vision and it's your way to saying it. So we shouldn't afraid of being something like a kitsch. I'm saying kitsch in French. I don't know if it's the same thing in English, but it's kitsch, like something repetitive or something like too much. Cliche. But what?
Like cliche.
Cliche. Sorry, yeah. I think cliche. So I think that's we shouldn't afraid of something like that, because
Fantastic. So we're going to kind of wrap up relatively soon now, because I know I realize we're just over the hour there. But if you can give us a little bit about screening in Ireland and at Still Voices, and just about the festival, or how you feel about it going ahead, because it's going ahead live as well, which is really exciting for all of us. Because
I just want to say that one of the person I want to thank and to say that's I'm very touched, and also it's kind of a nice feeling that my film is in your festival in Ireland, is Nora Tommy, is a director of the Breadwinner, because she taught me without probably knowing so many stuff in terms of kind of her patience and how she was with the team, and actually it was very inspiring to me to how to be like this. I try to. And the fact that my film is in Ireland, I had a very good memory in my heart from Ireland, the Irish people, and everything about the cultural thing. And of course, Cartoon Saloon and Nora. And so for me, it's a kind of it's a kind of the mixed feeling. I really wish to be there, and because we were there actually for the Breadwinner, but unfortunately I had to come back to France. We didn't celebrate that much Breadwinner as we should probably, I don't know, but I was very busy for my next film. But maybe I hope the other films that I can actually come and to see you and Nora and everyone, and to go to the pub and celebrate this. But that's how actually we celebrate in Ireland. And that's wanted to thank, of course, my producers, but Nora, because she's like an icon in terms of for directing for me. And that's what I wanted to say.
But it's great to hear you had such a good experience. And I know Nora is incredible. So I can only imagine it was fantastic to be able to work with her over that period of time. And I'm sure she'll be very proud of you and your film.
For me, of course, I want to thank all the organization team of the festival and the programming team to have programmed my films. I'm really happy, and I wish I can be there. I wish there will be another occasion for me to meet you guys and meet the audience. I never went to Ireland. I don't know anybody there, but I want to. So I wish I will make some Ireland friends soon at the next edition, maybe. And I don't know what to say else than thank you.
Well, I'm sure others can tell you that we do like to enjoy ourselves when we go to film festivals. We get to see lots of films and then hopefully have a few pints afterwards as well. And I have no doubt Still Voices Short Film Festival will be exactly the same. Everyone's dying to get back out there, so it should be great fun. And yourself, Hazel,
thank you so much to the programming team at Still Voices Short Film Festival for having Doublespeak. And I really hope your audience enjoys it. And I wish that I could be there in person and see all the other amazing films that will be at the festival. But next time, I'd love to be there.
We'll hold you to that now. It was absolutely wonderful to meet you all and get all your tips, and advice. And best wishes to all of you at Still Voices Short Film Festival for 2021. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. I look forward to watching your films.
Yeah, let's share.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, let's share. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
And you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. The Still Voices Short Film Festival takes place from the 4th to the 7th of November. Check out the full programme and book your tickets at stillvoicesfilmfestival.com. And of course, be sure to check out filmireland.net.